Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, may you all be well, happy, and peaceful. We are going to have a presentation based on a story titled From Rags to Riches. Now, this is an AI-generated story, one of the AI chat box, and it generated this story when I put in certain things that I wanted. But of course, I had to do the editing and to have some changes. But generally, the storyline based on the AI generated story. Now, the texts are in English, and with the Google Translate, we have put in the Chinese version so that, people who do not understand much English can follow the story. Now, the pictures all are taken from the internet, the images. Some are generated by AI to make the presentation more interesting and to enable you to follow the storyline better. Right? Now, we are going to launch the PowerPoint. First, we will have the story. I will read over and comment or explain the story. And at the end, we have the important slides involving the Dharma discussion or live lessons. Right? So this is what we have in the presentation. Now let us launch the PowerPoint, starting from the beginning. Now you can see the cover slide, From Rags to Riches. As you can see in the picture, it concerns a person struggling from young and then became very successful, wealthy person. So this has very good moral values, life lessons that we can apply in our everyday life. So we are going to move on the story, and let us go on to the next slide. Once upon a time, in the bustling streets of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, there lived a young man named Chin Seng Kong. Born into a humble family, Seng Kong knew the taste of poverty intimately. Now, actually, this story is centered on this character whose name was Chin Seng Kong. Actually, I gave that name. Internet AI gave another name. Now, this Mr. Chin Seng Kong is actually a pun from the Hokkien. For those who don't know Hokkien, Chin Seng Kong means very successful. But actually, there are people with the surname of Chin, isn't it? Seng Kong means successful. So that is this pun, so that you can see why his name is called Chin Seng Kong. No, he was actually from a very poor family, poverty-stricken, very small hut, right, that he was staying in, and with his parents who worked very, very hard. They were honest, simple people, but very, very hardworking, and probably they did just, ordinary hard labor work, right? And in order to support the family, also Chin Seng Kong, so they work very hard. And their hands also became rough, calloused hands, barely scraping enough to put food on the table. So it was very, very tough, struggling with life. Today, we also have people like that. Most of us also came from poor families, and I can understand what poverty is like. But within the confines of their small home, they instill in Seng Kong values that will shape his destiny: hard work, integrity, and compassion. So this is a very important aspect of the story. Despite their poverty, they never resorted to any immoral action. In fact, they practice morality and they practice the Dharma actually very well. So from young, Seng Kong was taught by the parents all these great moral virtues and values like hardworking, honesty, integrity, responsibility, diligence, compassion for others, and all those cardinal virtues. So you can see later on how this really shape a great man. So you can see here, I just put in one of the images of Kuala Lumpur, but of course probably was staying nearby the big city, maybe outskirts or something like that. Anyway, that's just a story. So this one just I got from the internet to show his small hut. Right? So that is this slide number 2. Now we are going to go on to slide number 3. As a child, Seng Kong was scrawny, very skinny, thin, probably due to lack of nutrition. They just have to survive on simple food. And of course, he went to school and he often found himself despised by his classmates. So you can see the image I put in. He was a simple child, but very honest, with very good qualities. He was of good character. But you know, in a society, people who maybe are very well off, affluent families, they tend to look down on these poor people, right, who do not even have proper clothes, and then, very, very poor indeed. So you have, probably he was bullied even, but he took all this, he endured all these things. He possessed an unyielding spirit, and he was very, very interested in his education. So you had this unyielding spirit, like not feeling negative and wanting to give up and so on, or complaining. It's not. It's a very good character. So an unyielding spirit, a fire that burned brighter when he heard stories of successful people who had risen from the depths of adversity, of troubled times, of great hardship, adversity. So he probably was an avid reader. He would borrow books from the library and read a lot. So he was very motivated. And in his heart, he yearned for good education, not only just in the primary education. So he actually had this aspiration to climb up the ladder of education because he believed that education was the only ladder he could climb to escape the shackles of poverty. I think, in real life also, we have many cases who, because of education, despite their poverty, became very, very successful. Doctors, engineers, right? Accountants, administrators, all sorts of successful people. So Chin Seng Kong was like that, but he was very, very much greater than the people who made it from the rags to the riches. He was of great moral character. And that is what we are going to emphasize in this story. So that is slide number 3. Now we'll go on to slide number 4. Determination became his guiding star. He studied relentlessly, filled by the dream of a better life. So this very important quality, keazaman or Juesing, was his guiding star. So he had this quality, he was determined to succeed. And he knew that education was the key. So he studied very, very hard. And he was dreaming of a better life and would sort of help his parents to get out of the gutters, so difficult. Of course, the story did not tell much about the parents, but it was centered on this. That's the internet story. So he continued his education into the 6th form, and when his pre-university exam results came out, those days probably they had the English medium, so the A-level results came out, and he got outstanding results because of his great determination and diligence, and probably he was also of great intelligence. So he got a scholarship, and he went on to study education at a a very good university in Malaysia. Actually, he studied TESOL. Now, TESOL means Teaching of English as a Second Language. It was a 4-year course to get an honors degree in TESOL, right? So that was his qualification. Right? But he was very, very intelligent. But probably he had this passion to teach. And he qualified to be a TESOL teacher after his 4-year course. You could see the cartoons I put in, very hardworking, and then the university in cartoon form, and then he graduated out successfully. Let us now go on to number 5. So Seng Kong's first job was an English teacher, earning a meager, those days, a very, very low salary, 700 ringgit a month, and he had to support the family. A story did not tell about his other siblings also. So he did not say that, where he was teaching. It could be a private college or private school or government school, but that was not mentioned in the internet story. Actually, that was not really very important, because they concentrated on the key things. So he poured this Seng Kong, poured his heart into teaching, and he was a very, very good teacher, inspiring his students with tales of resilience. Resilience would imply that he was of strong character, not giving up easily, can face with all the challenges and problems and difficulties of life to overcome all the hurdles, obstacles. That is resilient, being resilient. Today, you have many people who are very, what we call lambat, give up easily, strawberry generation, very, very, lucky, a lot of wealth, and then comfort, and then enjoying all the sensual pleasures, but they don't have this strong trait of resilience. When a problem comes, they cannot face it. And I think you have heard of cases, just some problems like romance problems, you commit suicide also, and then some will sink into great depression, many in fact. So you see, he had this quality of resilience, and he had this very good ambition, right, to become successful. And he had noble aims, not just money, you will see later. His classroom buzzed with hope, and Seng Kong's reputation spread beyond the college. Probably he was teaching in a private college. And so he was, very well liked with all his good qualities. And he was just not an ordinary teacher or lecturer, but he was a very, very good teacher or lecturer, influencing for the better the students who were really motivated and became very successful later also. So he was a natural mentor. He could counsel, and he had all these qualities of loving kindness and compassion. So many students admired him, not just for his knowledge. Of course, he had great knowledge, being an avid reader, with a good degree in English, teaching of English. But more important now was this, that he had this quality of unwavering kindness. Ajahn Brahm coined the word kindfulness, which is a very, very important quality for life, right? For our life. And it works magic. Kindness is magic, you can see. So he was a good counselor also, helping a number of people, especially the students that came under his teaching. Now let us go on to number 6. One fateful day, Seng Kong stumbled upon the internet during a trip to the United States. Of course, no details were mentioned again, why or how he went. Maybe he could get a sponsorship, or his college sent him for some training and so on, whatever. So then he The time, probably the internet was still quite new. So he stumbled upon the internet and he was really fascinated, the digital world. So much in the internet. The vastness of information, the connections that the internet could forge across the whole world, across continents. Of course, you would know now the power of the internet. But those were the early days of the internet, you see. So, so he was very, very motivated and inspired. And of course, being of that sort of character, he could absorb a lot of things, being intelligent and very hardworking with all the qualities. So he learned a lot from the internet. So he returned to Malaysia with a vision. So he had this vision. He wanted to create an online marketplace that would empower small businesses and connect people globally. Wow, that was his dream. I think today we have people who started this sort of online marketplace, right? Uh, Digital marketing. I think very successful like Amazon.com, and many in the United States. And even over here, you're familiar with very successful ones who have become millionaires. Maybe people who started the Shopee or Lazada or many others. And all over the world, you have very, very successful websites that deal with online marketing. Right? So that was the digital business over the net. And he could connect people all over the world, So he learned all these things from the internet, and he told his friends and said, we are going to start this sort of platform, right? Digital marketing, a business, and we will name this Blooming Lotus. Just as people name Amazon, and then they name maybe Shopee or Lazada, many other names, or Alibaba. Yeah, in China, very successful one, an online marketing place, right? And the person also, I think, came from a very poor family, and he became a millionaire, right? The one who started Alibaba in this China. So that was the sort of line, lah. So when he suggested this name, Blooming Lotus, so his friends asked him, what kind of name is that? To start this digital marketing online marketplace, right? So let's see what he said. So let's move on to slide number 7. But Seng Kong, right, had this diligence, and his diligence knew no bounds. He could explain to all of them, and he gathered his friends in his small apartment. Of course, he was already working as a teacher or lecturer, so probably he rented a tiny apartment, and he convinced these people, his friends, who are already also working already. He convinced them to invest in his audacious dream, a very courageous dream. Some would say a wild dream, but he was very, very courageous. And that was how this online marketing platform was born. And the name was Blooming Lotus, a platform, a social media platform where exporters could showcase their products directly to customers. I think many of you are familiar. You do shopping in Lazada, Shopee, and then Amazon.com, and many others all over the world. You have dealing with all sorts of products. And Alibaba, I think you would know. So he was full of determination. Seng Kong's eyes sparkled with determination as he typed the first lines of computer code. Actually, he studied in the university English teaching, right? But because of his great mind, intelligent, he could learn coding and so on. You have people like that, from young also they could do all the coding. I wouldn't know what to do or how to do. And this coding, as you see, they will have to use all this coding in all those great online marketing platforms, like Amazon.com and so on. Everything is, really the technology is really fantastic and advanced. At that time, there was no AI yet, but they already, started all the coding and then machine language and all those things. He had no experience with computers, but he learned all those things. but he had something more powerful, more potent. And what was that thing? An unyielding belief in the power of the internet. He knew that he could become very successful and wealthy with work via the internet. As today, you have seen so many like that. Now let us go on. So Blooming Lotus, that's the name of the social media marketing platform, grew. Wow, everybody was amazed, his friends, and defying the odds and skeptics. Of course, at first, especially it was, just the start of this sort of things. So he defied the odds and the skeptics, and the people say, cannot work on how to sell the thing over the internet and so on. But Seng Kong's determination was very great, and he believed in his dream. His days blurred into nights because he was very hardworking, diligent. He was still very young, probably maybe in his late 20s or something like that only. And he had to continue teaching, which he liked, and coding, right? Coding, the computer language, and all to do with his digital marketing website, Blooming Lotus, the platform. But the remarkable thing is this: his compassion remained intact. His good character, moral values remain intact. He did not change, as some people, after becoming very rich, they will forget all the Dharma, they will forget all the moral values and life lessons. No, he was not like that. He became very successful, became wealthy, and he donated a portion of Blooming Lotus profits, to charities, helping those who had once shared his struggles. There were people who helped him probably, and he was grateful. So you see, very rich, but yet never forgot the Dharma practice. He did not say that he was a Buddhist. So anyway, he was showing good Dharma qualities, isn't it? Right? So this is you can think of Warren Buffett, and then the one who started this Windows, right? So all these famous people very, very successful. And they donated. Steve Jobs was also one of them. So this very successful Warren Buffett, another one of them. Steve Jobs died already, right? Right. So the needy found solace. So he helped many needy people, and he was very generous, so they could be helped by him. And then, whispers of his kindness echoed through the marketplace, not the pasar, but in this case, it's the world of the social media platform. And also in the place that he stayed and all the contacts and so on. So they knew about these special people, very, very kind. So that is this thing. So I put it, he was still working via the internet in the social media platform, and then also teaching, and he did a lot of charity work as well. So you can see this is a very, very special thing. Just now I forgot the name you mentioned, Bill Gates. You remember Bill Gates? So successful, became millionaire, and yet he donated. I think probably more than 90% all for charitable causes. Very, very great, right? So as Blooming Lotus flourished, it became very successful. This is Amazon.com. Or now I think in Malaysia, everybody would know of what do you call it? This Lazada, right? So and Shopee also. So Seng Kong's wealth multiplied. And at a very young age, in his early 30s, he became a millionaire already. But the remarkable thing, his heart remained rooted in humility. Right? Where some have become very, very ambitious, go into politics, and even want to get more riches, and corruption set in, and all those negative traits will come. But he was not like that. He remained rooted in humility. He wore simple clothes, drove an unassuming, very simple car only. He drove a simple car and continued to teach. His office wore the coats He was from the Chinese background, probably. So he had these great quotes that would teach good moral values, life lessons. From these two, according to the internet story generated, Confucius, I think you know, great moral code, isn't it? Right? Great values. And then Lao Tzu, apart from the great moral values, very good Dharma teachings also, actually. So all these things will remind him of the moral compass that guided him from young until now, a very well-known millionaire, multi-millionaire already, right? So that is this very motivating thing. Now let us go on to number. We will now move on to the next part of the story. So despite discipline kept him grounded. That is a important quality for success. We'll discuss that later. Discipline kept him grounded. He woke early. He would get up early. He would do his meditation, practice Tai Chi, and he would also take time to relax. So a very disciplined person. So Seng Kong believed that success was not just about financial gains. Of course, this success, material success, great wealth, brought him some comfort, easier life, and he could support his family, and his family would live a much easier life. But it was not that they're lavish, as you hear the stories of people are owning 4, 5 mansions, wow, and then how many cars, and then actually some of the acquired through crooked ways. Now, of course, there are a lot of court cases for corruption, and now you have all sorts of dirty, immoral things, scamming and all those things. But he was not like that. He was all the while of good character, very clean. And he did so much of charity work, just like I think Bill Gates and Warren Buffett also did a lot of charity work. Malaysia also, you might have some Robert Kwok or a few of them. I wouldn't want to comment much because I don't know much about that. But I just want to emphasize the things from the story that are of importance. So it was about leaving a legacy of goodness. Yeah, where some people here become millionaires, they want to pass the things to their children, their grandchildren, so they think people will remember their wealth because the children now so wealthy, but then so many things, material wealth acquired through crooked means. So people will just will not really bother about you. It will not be a legacy, but his was a legacy because he did so much of philanthropic work. He funded schools, he gave scholarships as he also got, right? So he was paying back to society. And also he supported many medical clinics. He did a lot of charity work. But he was very happy doing all those. His eyes crinkled with laughter as he played with children in orphanages, their faces lighting up in his presence. Some people could feel not his wealth, but they feel his goodness, his good moral character. And this is just a picture of the orphanage. So which means that he would pay visit to orphanage and spend time helping. So he was just that simple person, despite all his great wealth and fame also, you could see he was not concerned about those things. So this aspect is about the great work that he did to reach out to other people. But at the same time, he still cultivated his inner qualities, right? And that was a remarkable person. Now let us go on to slide number 11. Now, as the years pass, imagine I became successful in the early 30s. So many years pass. The story did not tell about what happened to his family. The story did not even mention whether he got married, he got children, and all this not mentioned. I think basically he was just focusing on the moral lessons. I put in. The story must emphasize those qualities. In order for the AI to generate the story, you have to put in what you want, the words and so on. So as the years pass, Chin Seng Kong. It's the Hokkien Pan. This fellow's name. Actually, this fellow's name by now should be changed to should be is Chin Seng Kong lah, right? Last time I posted another story. Jin Kiam Siap, very selfish, but later on it changed lah. This one is Jin Seng Kong, very successful. Right? All right. Seng Kong, maybe probably there are people who are Chinese people with the name of Seng Kong, but maybe Tan Seng Kong, but this one was I put in the surname Jin, so the pun works, Jin Seng Kong. And of course, he, all his life, he was of very upright character, practiced righteous living, and he aged gracefully, right? He was, the story didn't say again, but I think probably he was very healthy also, that he could work until a ripe age where he retired. And of course, by then he would have passed the thing to the successors to take over the social media platform. We didn't have to do that already, but he would still continue to do the charity work wherever he could. So his hair already turned white, silver, but his spirit remained youthful, still youthful. And people would come to seek his advice, not just on business matters. Of course, he had a lot of knowledge, not only on business matters, he also had knowledge on all things, aspects of life, especially life lessons. And probably he had fantastic wealth of the Dharma knowledge, and probably you practice that. But the story from internet did not mention this. So he actually was a person very special. In Chinese, you say, 他明白什么意思是人生. So he knew what was life all about, right? The meaning, the purpose, he knew that. That's why his life was exemplary. So how many are like that? Not easy to find, I think. So he would sit by the lotus pond in his garden. Probably we had a bigger house already by then. He would have a mansion, but not that sort of opulent or lavish type of house with 25 rooms, and not that type, just a big house. But he welcomed anybody who needed help. It was a refuge. His mansion was open to all, right? Then he would very peacefully sipping tea in the garden, and then people would come, right? Something like Ajahn Chah. Ajahn Chah was a monk, right? So this fellow was a layperson. So it was a refuge. People who, people were in trouble, very, very desperate and so on. So they consider this place is mentioned like a refuge. They could get help in various ways. People are maybe single mothers, or maybe widows, right, orphans, and all sorts of people, or the young people from the college, universities that have already great problems of life. So it was a refuge for the lost, a beacon of hope. So imagine he touched the lives of so many. And so the tale of Seng Kong spread far and wide. A man who had risen from poverty, not just to material wealth, but more important, he was a wealth of character. Of course, he had the physical wealth and so on, but to him, that was not the only thing. Probably he knew about impermanence. He knew all this would go. Nothing wrong with acquiring wealth and so on. But the important thing is, what do you do about it? What do you do with it? How do you develop your character? What sort of values do you hold? Those are the important things which many, many rich people who have become wealthy, especially through crooked ways, also through many crooked ways, would not have these qualities. So I put here two very important things, right? The wisdom. Definitely, since he did all these things, he must have wisdom. And then, of course, the moral values. And one more thing is, when you have that wisdom, compassion accompanies it, right? Wisdom and compassion, that's what we always will say. Right? That's true wisdom, no? Not intelligence or cleverness that you have become through learning the universities, how to cheat people, how to scam and all those stuff, but not that sort of thing, right? So that's why sometimes I see, wow, I see more wisdom among some of the ordinary people, hawkers and so on, than some of those high-profile politicians who sometimes speak nonsense and would do much damage to others, to society. It's true. Uh, Now, let's go on to slide number 12. So his legacy wasn't aged in gold or marble. Of course, today you find I've encountered this also, Dato lah or Dato Sri who wanted to donate to the Buddhist Association in the early years that I was involved in. So they would want the names to engage, I mean to age in this way, that way, all those things. But we never allow that sort of a big engraving occupy the whole hall. Well, if you are kind enough to donate a room, so maybe there will be a small engraving lah. But he was not interested in all these things, honestly. So this Seng Kong's legacy wasn't aged in gold or marble, but it was really aged in the hearts of those he had touched. And Seng Kong had touched the hearts of many indeed, young and old. That was really a legacy. And that will be something that you will leave behind. The rest all, who bothers about your titles, Dato' Sri, who bother about your how much wealth you pass to your children and grandchildren, how many cars you have, and all these people won't bother about that. But if you have touched the hearts of many, that is something very, very great. So as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow on the lotus petals, Seng Kong smiled. So that means at his age now, he was happy, peaceful, that he had led a very meaningful life. Not because he could enjoy all his wealth, enjoying the senses, or not that, no, because he had climbed mountains of life. But the highest mountain he found that he climbed was kindness. Ajahn Brahm would emphasize a lot on this. So much more he had written. I remember the book on kindfulness and wrote. So he's in stocks also. I coined that word. There's no such word as kindfulness. It's kindness. But he coined this word because he wanted to incorporate mindfulness. Mindfulness and kindness. Very important. So kindfulness. That's what very creative. So the people of his town whispered, Seng Kong, our blooming lotus of compassion. See how people look up to him. That is truly great. Seng Kong really successful. And the name of his social media digital marketing platform was not Alibaba. Was not amazing. He didn't use all those names, but he used actually quite a Buddhistic name. That was what I coined a blooming lotus of compassion. The lotus, is a Buddhist flower. It represents from the mud, the beautiful lotus could come out and remain pure and pristine. Very meaningful, this blooming lotus. And the compassion comes with it. Of course, the lotus doesn't have compassion, but it's symbolic. So you could see the pictures here touching the hearts of many, a pretty animated one. And then this key here is the key of kindfulness. Kindness is the key. You can say kindfulness is the key. And it's all running through this story. You find this life lesson of compassion, right? So compassion is a very, very powerful and great value, great virtue. Is in Buddhism one of the four Brahma Viharas, four divine states, sublime states, the divine abodes of the very high gods. That is one of the qualities that is called Karuna. So now we are going to spend time in the next 3 slides, right, on the Dharma lessons, the life lessons, the moral values, right? That is the most important aspect. The story is just a story, right, generated by AI. I wanted to test. Actually, the AI could generate quite interesting stories and poems, right? And all sorts of things I've tried various AI chatbots, and but I can say nearly all of them will require editing, discarding certain things, but generally very good. Most of the things I didn't change actually really much, right? So that's how I got this, and I spent lots of time, more than 10 hours for this presentation, because it was quite difficult to get at the pictures, the images, and so on, right? And So from the inception of the idea to do research and so on until the final stage of like now doing a video based on the script, the presentation. All in all, I found I took more than 10 hours spread over a few days. Okay, now we are going to go over the live lessons. All right, so let us do this very important thing. First, we will look at great quotes to reflect upon. So all the while, of course, I've been using a lot of the Dhammapada verses, which contain really great quotes, really great quotes. But now we are going to look at some very famous quotations or wise sayings from very well-known figures, ancient times as well as modern times. Actually, you find that there is Dharma all over. Even in other religions, there is Dharma. Dharma is no monopoly of just one single religion called Buddhism. That's why I prefer the word Dharma rather than a label Buddhism, Sikhism, and then so much of a conflict and wars have been waged in the name of religion. It's terrible, actually. The great founders of these great religions never wanted all those things. That's what is happening. Human beings because of great hatred, illusion. So let us look at the first one. This is by the Italian, supposed to be highly regarded in Italy, Roman. A Roman, he was a poet and he was a great thinker of Mr. Virgil, right? Long time ago already. And he was a Roman and he did great works of poetry and maybe some other writings. Now, what did he say? He said, come what may, all bad fortune is to be conquered by endurance. This quality of endurance, which would have with it patience and also resilience, to be able to endure all the hardship and not give up. And this was displayed in the story very well by Mr. Jin Seng Kong. He was struggling from young. He was so thin, probably malnutrition. All right. And then in school, probably was bullied and so on. But yet he could endure all these things with a positive mind. That is a very important thing. He could endure this with positive thinking. He did not like fall off already or give up. Some would even commit suicide, or some would resort to terrible things, join the syndicate and need to get money. Or he didn't do that. He endured all the hardship. Right? Probably he knew about karma. Lah. He knew that some karma from the past came and he was in that situation, but he knew that karma, he could change it. Right? We will discuss this under the Dharma discussion. So that is the important thing you have to bear in mind. Now let us go on to the modern motivator. This person is a motivator, has written many books, very famous. If you check Zig Ziglar. Right? So I find that many of the sayings have great Dharma lessons actually. So what did he write? I picked one of them. There are many. You can actually Google Zig Ziglar. I've got some of his books also. And you can actually get even free books in the internet by him. So he said that I believe success is achieved by ordinary people with extraordinary determination. This again is reflected very clearly in the character of Mr. Jin Seng Kong. Right? He was full of determination. He was determined to realize his dream. Positive, all positive things, to succeed. Right? So, very true, I find. You must have determination, just as Buddha had determination, right? To not, get up under the Bodhi tree meditating until he found the truth, until he became enlightened. So he must have. But today, many would not have this quality. They give up easily. They always expect to be spoon-fed, to be given a subsidy lah, help lah, this and that lah. So how can you really be successful? So this is also a very important quote to reflect upon. You just can be an ordinary person, and you have actually cases of people who have come up. And even in Malaysia, you have people who are very, very poor, but with the determination, they have made it good lah. And some, of course, in quite good ways, but many also have gone in crooked ways also. Now let us go on to the background. By the way, you could see I put in, I search and search, and finally I chose this, where you have, it could be written as failure or a fail in life, a failure, and then walking on the ladder of success. And then in between you find you have lots of problems, you could fall down, right? You could fail, but they are determined to succeed, and they have other qualities, so they would not fall, they would succeed. This is the meaning of the background image. So now let's look at the next one by a former British Prime Minister, Benjamin Disraeli. He had also written good works in English. Very simple only. He said, diligence is the mother of good fortune. You want to have true success, you want to have blessings, good luck, you call it good fortune, must be diligent in whatever you do. And in fact, I've listened to Ajahn Dhamma so many times in his talks. He said of all the qualities mentioned in the scriptures, one of the most important to be successful, either in the worldly life or even in the spiritual life, to cultivate the Dhamma, is this quality called diligence. If you are not diligent in whatever you do, how can you get success, true success, blessings, and so on? So that is very, very true indeed. But today you find that people want shortcuts. They want the easy way. They become rich, but in crooked ways, right? Cheating people, corruption. Corruption very easy, right? Then you give me this type of money, I'll settle the problem for you. So money given to him, is that success? That is an immoral action, and there is a price to pay, but people don't bother. They just want to enjoy the temporary sensual pleasures with the worldly wealth, money, cars, houses, all this, and they would live to regret. And you find that dukkha will come, not only in this life, later part in this life. Even if it doesn't come in this life, then don't forget there is always future lives. So some people don't understand. They say, wow, this brother, smuggler, did all the bad things, and then nothing happened to him. He died at 70, 80, a very good life. Yeah, but you're only looking at a very short span of the thing. Well, we have this thing we call rebirth. So where will he heading? Well, where will he be heading for? I have no time to talk about all the evidences for rebirth and so on. So, diligence is the mother of good fortune. Very important. Now, let us look at the next one. This Samuel Johnson was a poet, and he also had done great works. And in fact, he was one of those pioneers. In fact, he wrote the dictionary also, right? And then subsequent dictionaries also followed, So he had great contributions in the literary sense in the English-speaking world, and I think he was from England, right? So he gave this very famous person. He was a poet, a great literary figure lah. I remember that he, was instrumental in starting the dictionary, the sort of things. So he said that great works are performed not by strength, not by your physical strength, muscular and so on, but by perseverance. This is another quality, again reflected in the story. So you find these four quotes I have chosen all tied together with the character and qualities of Mr. Jin Seng Kong. So I searched and searched, I chose this four. I couldn't have many. I wanted to cover one frame only. Perseverance and great motivators actually also tie up with diligence. Great motivators have said, that all the good qualities, the moral values, virtues for success, there's one thing that is a common trait. They call it the golden trait of success. I did a posting on that also. So I think I put at the end you find a link if you want to follow that one. That quality is called persistence. He used the word persistence, right? But actually it's perseverance, to go on and not to give up. Right? To always go on and not to give up, really, I cannot, negative thinking, perseverance until you succeed. Also reflected in the Buddha's life. He persevered on, tried all sorts of hardship and so on, until he was successful and became enlightened. So I find these 4 quotes, I find very meaningful. They are Dharma-based, and then also tie in with the story of Mr. Chin Seng Kong, the story generated by an AI chatbot. And it's worth to reflect and to convey and teach these values. That's why this presentation can be viewed by all, the young and the old, because the older generation might be able to impart these values to the younger ones, the students, the children, the grandchildren, right? The youth members and so on. So that's why I put in this frame in this presentation. Now we come to number 14 now. Now we have even the more important, the Dharma lessons for reflection, the Dharma teachings. This is, of course, to us very, very important, because this is the one that you need to understand in order to be truly happy, peaceful, and successful. Actually, Kacang Brahm once asked, which comes first, success or happiness? Many will say, oh, if I'm successful, I'm a millionaire, all this, then I'll be happy. It's not so. It's happiness that comes first. So you find that this person, as he went along in the path, Mr. Chin Seng Kong, there was happiness, joy. Why? Because he also had the great works of charity and all accompanying. So the happiness drove him also to achieve success in so many areas. So now let us look at the first frame. The law of karma reigns supreme. We have to understand that. Basically, is you reap what you sow, good begets good, bad begets bad. So, of course, Mr. Seng Kong did not question his poverty or his poor background and so on. Probably he had an understanding of the law of karma, but he knew that karma is not fatalism. It doesn't mean they cannot change. That's my life, that's my fate. I'm born to be like that. That is wrong concept completely in the Dharma. Right? What you have, what is happening to you, what you are, could be related to your past karma coming over. But you can change that. The destiny is in your hands. You can change the course of karma, as this person had done. Mr. Chin Seng Kong, isn't it? So that is what we are aiming at, to let people understand truly what the law of karma is. It is a law of moral causation. As you know, people who do bad, you think that bad will not catch up with you one day, right? And people who are in terrible conditions, but they realize this, they accept it, and then they move on and do all the good things and work hard with all the qualities like Mr. Seng Kong, which means they are going from darkness to light, darkness to light. But some from darkness are very poor and so on, and they want to find the easy way out. They do all the wrong things. It's darkness to darkness. So you find it. I have no time to I can give a good. I mean, you can have a 1-hour talk just on this topic. Now let us go on to the next one. Destiny is in our hands. We chart our destiny. So people who have the wrong idea, oh, everything is controlled by an heavenly, very high God. No, the emperor will decide everything, so there's nothing you can do about it. Actually, you got the wrong idea. In fact, even in the theistic religions, I remember this, I was taught under Christianity, God helps those who help themselves. So you cannot say that, it's the will of God, I cannot do anything about it. That is negative, I feel. So destiny is in your hands. Just like related to the one, you chart your course of life, right? You can change the course. So what you have to do to change the course, firstly, you must make sure you are morally righteous. Must follow the moral laws, just as Mr. Chin Seng Kong, practicing dana, sila, that means generosity, charity, observe the moral precepts so well. And then also he meditated, cultivate the mind to get the wisdom. So you must put in the right effort. That means you do the right effort of having the good, wholesome things in your mind, then it will lead you to do the good things and speak the right things and then to cut off all those bad things, unwholesome things in the mind, so that you will not face with the negative consequences. So basically, it's just summarized this way. Again, the talk can come. Actually, I have done talks on this aspect of the Dharma teaching. So because of time constraint, I have no time, so I have to go on to the third Dharma lesson. This again reflected in the character of Mr. Chin Seng Kong. Patience, determination, and perseverance. We have mentioned that already. Remember, we even talked about endurance, right? And patience is tied up with endurance. Determination, perseverance, positive thinking, all those things you know lah from motivational talks. But the thing is, do we put into practice? We learn a lot of things. We may be like walking encyclopedias. I have known of friends like that, very intellectual, all sorts of things they know. This religion, that religion, this philosophy, that philosophy. But the important thing is, can you be really like Mr. Chin Seng Kong? But just not completely, maybe just a fraction. Can you be? So if I would like to say, if you look at Dharma practice, in Dharma practice, the goal for us is to stop the dukkha. You always will face with dukkha as long as you are living in this world of samsara, conditioned existence. I have also given talks on this, what are the causes of dukkha and all those stuff. So if you want to be successful in realizing your goal of Dharma practice to become enlightened, to cease all the suffering, right? And to have the true happiness, peace, right? The equanimity, all the good states of mind which would not change. The ultimate, and you know the ultimate happiness is Nibbana. Then you must have the Dhamma practice. But to have the Dhamma practice, you need qualities of the character and your mind, like patience, endurance, determination, perseverance. This is very, very important, right? So now let us look at the fourth Dhamma lesson I have put. Worldly sensual pleasures pale behind the true inner peace and happiness. But today many get caught by this trap of Mara. They think that worldly sensual pleasures, they think those are the things which constitute happiness. It's actually happiness within inverted commas, not really true happiness, because they are really impermanent. And then you find they give rise to dukkha again. So what actually I would say is that they are just enjoying the worldly sensual pleasures. But actually there's nothing wrong as ordinary people. They go touring, eat good food and so on. But you must know how to put on the brake. You must see beyond that. Because if you don't see beyond that, then when dukkha comes, then you will have great suffering. Right? You cannot have the endurance. So, actually in Dhammapada, it stated that the wise person right, sees beyond the ordinary so-called happiness. He sees there's a greater happiness, a greater and more true inner peace and happiness. So he's willing to sacrifice the temporary, very low-level happiness, worldly sensual pleasures, for the sake of the greater happiness. So they are willing to endure, suffer. Practice of Dharma is not easy. You have to, spend time meditating, reading the scriptures, reflecting, and so on, and doing dana and all those, right? So many people don't see this, so they want to enjoy themselves first. So if most people belong to this category, happy, right? Nice, comfortable first, but then you have the dukkha coming, you're not ready. Where is the wise person? He says, some pain first, right? Some suffering first. The endurance, the pain that can come with initial starting of the Dharma practice until you get a certain level. Then later on, you have happiness, true happiness and true peace. This is the wise person's way. And this person has this type of philosophy, right? From from pain and then to happiness, true happiness, like darkness to light. Whereas the other one, want to have sensual pleasures all the time, no time for the other aspect is from comfort, sensual pleasure, everything to dukkha. So actually it's mentioned in the scripture and so on. So you find out that is a very important thing. Again, Dhammapada is mentioned this particular aspect of the Dhamma, right? That the worldly sensual pleasures really pale behind the true inner peace that you get. And probably you will see this reflected very clearly in the life of Mr. Chin Seng Kong. It was not the physical wealth that gave him the true happiness, the true joy, the true peace and calm. Otherwise, he would not have continued visiting orphanages or maybe other homes or helping, because he found that there is this true inner peace developing. And of course, he was also developing his wisdom through the meditation and through following the works. Of course, sorry, put in the Confucius and Lao Tzu. Probably he also would have gone into the Dharma in terms of the Buddhist scriptures. Buddha, like, so of course, Confucius and Lao Tzu were great philosophers and great people who contributed a lot, right? But of course, we must not forget that because the AI probably is Western-based, or maybe he doesn't know much. And he should know also, but anyway, he quoted this, so I say it's okay, it's fine. Now let us go on to the end already. I think it's the... Now, so the end, I put my own quotation, all right? One who is good and happy. So to be truly happy, we have to be good, actually. You have to be morally upright. Follow moral laws. Otherwise, you will have problems of the mind. Insomnia, cannot sleep, regret, remorse, and so on. So if you want to be truly successful, this quality of goodness is very important. As reflected by the story of Mr. Chin Seng Kong. So one who is good and happy is truly successful. I put that truly successful. Happiness comes first. Then only success. His mind, one who is like that, who is good and happy, truly successful, what happens? Now, this person's mind will be one that has these qualities. Mindfulness, always knowing, very alert, joyful, happy, and peaceful. I chose this verse in order to follow the rhyming Dhamma, the rhyming couplets. Successful, peaceful, and the rhythm follows in terms of number of syllables. So I have concluded with this final slide. It took me some time to do just this slide because I had to search for the background. I found finally I changed a few times. Finally, I chose this background where there is a road. You can see it's blurred out already, leading to success. Actually, that road you find there is this success going on and on. That is true success, right? And that is inner peace. Inner peace and happiness, that is the true success, not the worldly possessions. Now, if you want to find out more about the points of Dhamma and success and all, I have put in the 2 URL links, all right? One is the success formula, which I posted in SlideShare and Script some time ago. You can just click on the hyperlink, especially if you are viewing it through the script. Whereas for the SlideShare, you need to download it and everything there, only you can click at it. Otherwise, you will cut and paste already. This one is the hyperlink. And the other one also is very beneficial, especially or in terms of education for young and old. It's good character. That's what will matter. It's good character. It is good character. That's what will matter. I put in a lot of things in this presentation. So we have come to the end. Before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all, brothers and sisters in the Dharma, and all young and old who have been following this presentation. I say thank you and sadhu because you have taken time and also spend energy, put in the effort to follow this more than an hour presentation of a very important topic. Even though at first it was just a story, but after that you have lots of Dhamma. So I say sadhu and thank you to all of you for your good effort, right? Now let us now fold our palms, right? Anjali position we call it, and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Our brothers and sisters in the Dhamma and all who have been following the presentation, may you all be well, happy, peaceful, healthy, and may you always walk the Dharma way to be truly successful. You will have happiness first, then you will be truly successful. Take care. Sadhu.